Hey y'all, back at another video, and we're just talking about the ROG Xbox Ally, and that is a huge mouthful. But this all begins with rumors of Xbox's handheld. This is months ago. Then this advertisement popped up about opening a billion doors with Xbox, which is basically the whole thing of everything's in Xbox. Your shoes in Xbox, your phone's in Xbox, my taint's in Xbox.
You disgust me. Go on.
Um, and then for some reason within the day or day or two, it kind of disappeared off the internet. But obviously, people were quick to kind of zoom in and analyze the picture fairly, and they noticed, oh, there's a Steam tab there, which everyone was beginning to speculate. I'm like, there's going to be a Steam access on an Xbox console, whether that be like a home console or in this case, Xbox's potential handheld console. Obviously, at the time we're recording, we now realize that there is an Xbox handheld console, and it's basically Asus's ROG Allies handheld with an Xbox, I guess, a skin over the software.
It's beautiful.
But I think this is a huge leap forward for Xbox in terms of the handheld space. Um, Obviously, this won't be a cheap console by any under the means, but the access and probably the simplicity of like Game Pass, Xbox games, Steam, and then the possibilities are endless. Really, what do you think, Kevin?
Um, so with the release of the Switch 2, I think honestly this might be better in a way. And like it pains me to say that, but I think like the one thing that people are kind of forgetting is like the Steam Deck exists, but like I'm pretty sure Game Pass doesn't come to the Steam Deck. And so maybe this is like a good way of like introducing people to Steam without using Steam's like exclusive console. Because I know that you could play like a lot of different games on a Steam Deck, and then maybe like if this is similarly priced with the Steam Deck, that this might be a better option. Who knows? But like I definitely would like to see this actually like succeed in a way. Um, just because more access to more things.
Oh, and absolutely. Like the Nintendo Switch, specifically the Switch 2, has its niche. It has Nintendo. It's the only platform that you can play Nintendo games officially, anyway, without hacking or emulating and stuff. But I think this is a huge leap forward, for at least for Xbox, because obviously there are Xbox games that you can probably access on Steam through the Steam Deck. Um, this is just another leap forward in terms of an Xbox official device being able to run Steam, um, and in theory, can play PlayStation games through the Steam portion of it. I don't think PlayStation thought that would ever happen because let's be real, we're probably never going to see PlayStation games on an Xbox anytime soon. Even though Xbox, being the dumb fucks they are, they're giving PlayStation the fucking IPs and first party titles like crazy, with nothing really in return. Maybe one day we'll see Xbox Game Pass on a PlayStation, which at that point you might as well just buy a PlayStation. Um, but let's get in a little bit more details of the products, and we'll just go over slowly. So this is more of a specific zoom in of the Ally X, which is basically Xbox's naming scheme's Series X, the more powerful handheld. I still hate the Xbox naming scheme. I wish they just went from Xbox One to two to three, just kept it that way. But what the fuck do I know?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I, I'm kind of retarded.
PlayStation already took over for that one.
And that was a smart way to do it. I get it. They're trying to be unique. It's catchy. Oh, something
You should
different.
have just did like Xbox 360, Xbox 720, Xbox like what 900.
I just feel like the
Just
numbering
do
scheme.
that.
The number scheme would have gotten so complicated. I think when they did
But it just kept. Yeah, you just keep spinning, going
uh,
around in circles over.
No better word than stupid.
yeah, what Xbox 10,000 at some point. I think they should do Xbox One, then two, then three, and I just did it that way. I think it'll be more simple. But anyway, in this case, for the Ally X, looks like it's running a Ryzen CPU. Looks like it must be a newer chipset because it got AI in it, so that's gonna be interesting. So, kind of similar to the new GPUs and CPUs. 24 gigs of onboard memory, so that's pretty solid, and 1 terabyte of storage. So let's be real, this thing's probably not going to be cheap by any means. It's probably going to be similar price to the Steam Deck in terms of the higher end model of the Steam Deck. So I'm guessing starting price is probably gonna be $800, 799.99, including tax and shit, like easily north of $800. Um, Here's a little bit more of the specs of it. You guys can pause the video and read it. I'm not going to sit there and pretend I know what some of this means. Um,
I, and honestly, I don't think it's gonna be like as expensive as the actual like console itself.
you don't think so?
No, I think it's gonna be more expensive than the Steam Deck, which I think is $300 to $500. I think it's gonna be like around like six.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Because you're getting like a solid you're getting a terabyte of memory, 24 gigs of RAM, 16 cores. Like it's gonna be it's gonna be definitely pricier than the Steam Deck. And but I don't think it's gonna be pushing as much as like the actual like console that you put on your desk or wherever you put your console.
Yeah, definitely maybe. But who knows? With everything going on and inflation and everything, and let's be real, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they all like to smell their own farts. So, um, obviously, like we know now that there is a I don't want to say a simpler, but a more beginner entry level handheld version of it, just called the Xbox Ally. It looks like it has obviously lesser specs. So like we have 16 gigs of memory, and then 512 gigabytes of storage, which is basically half. I think we're gonna get a lot more people getting the X version just because the storage space. Just because we know we download one game, and pretty much half that's gone. We saw that in a lot of the earlier consoles and stuff. That's why they keep upgrading the terabytes, but then they keep upgrading the amount of space games take up. Like we said on previous videos, Call of Duties and games like that freaking take up 300 gigabytes, and then the day one patch, and they add a bunch of cosmetics. There's another 100 gigabytes of crap on top of that. Um, and obviously the
Now,
spec.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did they release any specs of the screen? Are we pushing 60 FPS, 120 FPS? Are we locked in at 30 FPS?
I
What did have they released anything on that?
I honestly
Do we
don't
know?
know. That's probably something I could probably look up real quick.
5 minutes later.
7-inch display. We're actually experience pixel perfect 120 hertz full HD display at 1080p with cornering Gorilla Glass Victus. That's a 7-inch display, which I think it's pretty good. 1080p, 120 hertz, so that's pretty solid. And I'm assuming that's for the X, so that's pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, that's 7 inches is a lot. Some might
Ladies,
even say more than average. Yeah, no, it's that's actually pretty good. Like
yeah,
that was one thing that I was like kind of concerned about. It's like if they're gonna be putting all of this into like a handheld, but the screen just can't handle the power that the like GPUs and all this shit is like pumping out. Like, is it even worth it to like, do something with that? Like, I'm pretty sure like obviously like the engineers probably thought about this, but like I didn't see what they were doing with the screen until like you just looked it up just now. So it's that's good, nice solid 7 inches. Can't be mad about that. Might even be a little bit impressed actually.
I know that you're gay.
it'll probably make some of us feel a little bit smaller than usual, but that's fine. Carry on. So I found this image of the breakdown of what, in terms of I guess platforms it has access to. So Xbox, Steam, Epic Games, and Blizzard. Um, and then it breaks down specifically what you have access to now. Though through Xbox, Game Pass, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus and Windows Store, which a plethora of things from there alone. Then Steam, specifically PlayStation IPs. I think this is an insane idea. Who would have thought that an Xbox, any kind of Xbox device would have access to, like, say, the Spider-Man game, God of War, um, Last of Us, I think, is on Steam. Maybe like the first one.
Ghost of Tsushima, I
Ghost of
think, is
Tsushima.
also on Steam.
So like
Quality game.
this is ginormous. This is huge.
I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge.
I don't know. It's obviously, like we just said, 1080p, 120 hertz. You're gonna be playing pretty visually a very good game and a buttery smooth game. I'd be curious if you could were able to plug this into a monitor and be able to play, and maybe like even like Bluetooth or like an Xbox controller to it. I think that'd be a pretty sick idea.
So yeah, but like this is actually really good. Like I like the diversity that they have in here. It seems pretty inclusive, and I think the fact that you have.
Sorry, there's automatic reaction to that. My bad.
That just caught me off guard so bad. But like I like the fact that like you have access to like the Microsoft Store where you can pick up like your Discord, your YouTube, your Twitch. I'm assuming they're going to have other apps on there as well, maybe like Crunchyroll or Amazon Video, like Prime Video, stuff like that. So like it can do basically like what your household Xbox can do, but mobile. And that is quite literally one of the greatest things ever. Now, my issue is this. A lot of games require you to have internet access. Now, if you're going out into the world and you don't have access to like, Wi-Fi or whatever, are you going to be able to still play the games?
From my understanding, PlayStation has their version of their handheld, but you have to be on the same network. Your PlayStation has to be on in order to. It's basically streaming from the PlayStation to the handheld. In this case, it's supposed to be completely like disconnected from the internet, played on the go, as long as the game allows for it. From my understanding, I could be completely wrong. I'm assuming this handheld is going to have access after so many days, similar to when you download a video on YouTube through YouTube Premium. You have to be hooked up to the internet every 30 days in order for it to keep maintaining that. I would assume this has a similar function because, say you want to play previous videos, Cuphead, Slime Rancher, Stray, a lot of single player games that don't require internet for you to play. I think that this would be a solid option for that. Or, you can pop on your hotspot on your cell phone, you play it through there if your plan allows that, obviously. I think this one's going to be a lot more forgiving in terms of internet access, I believe, but who knows, Xbox could change their mind tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope they keep it with the way that you just laid out, because that seems like a much more reasonable way of doing things. I don't want to have to constantly be worried about like where I'm going. Is it going to have Wi-Fi? Am I going to be like able to do what I want to do on this while on the go? Right. I could see you giving your kid this like while you like on a long car ride all the way to like, the middle of East Cuddy, and you want them to be entertained. So you hand them this, and you're not looking to put out your like hotspot or whatever and just run your data up.
Yeah.
So I definitely see this as being like a good option if you can do as you just laid out.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a huge W for Xbox, and we'll have to see what the future holds.
Absolutely.
Hey y'all, made it to the end. If you enjoyed, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below. We want to hear your thoughts, and we'll catch you on next one.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.